All right, welcome back to another Wisco Fanatics Wednesday. Jake will be joining me shortly, but I'm going to start it off solo. Jake will be in just a few minutes. Before we get started, I want to thank Wisco Ball for making some new merch for us. I got the old school Wisco Fanatics shirt on today, but we got new ones over at Wisco Ball. So if you go to wiscoball.com/Wisco Fanatics, you can actually find some t-shirts for the show, and we're gonna have hoodies coming soon, so we're excited for that. But we have lots of Brewers games to talk about today, which I'm going to start with. Talk about the Brewers and Cardinals second game from last week before Jake hops on. And then we have Badgers New Mexico State and a Badgers Ohio State preview today, which is going to be interesting to talk about. Jake and I are going to kind of change up the way we do the score prediction segment, so that'll be interesting, I suppose, to say the least. But I'm gonna run through this Brewers Cardinals game, and Jake will be joining me for the Yankees series. But so going with this Brewers Cardinals game, it was the second of two games against St. Louis in St. Louis. The Cardinals will be in Milwaukee for two games early next week. But Brewers got bases loaded in the first inning, couldn't push a run across. Burns went 1-2-3 through the first inning. Tyrone Taylor hit a sacrifice fly that got the Brewers a 1-0 lead. Arenado tied it in the bottom of the second. And then Yadier Molina single made it 2-1 Cardinals. The Brewers loaded the bases again in the fourth inning. And no runs. A solo shot in the bottom of the fifth made it 3-1 Cardinals. And then the Brewers left two more runners on in the sixth. They left a total of 12 runners on base. Andrew McCutchen was the only player without a hit in this game. Just came down to too many runners stranded and 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. Corbin Burns pitched 7 innings. He did give up 3 earned runs on 7 hits and a walk, 5 strikeouts. It's not a bad start. It's just not quite what we expect from Corbin Burns. Obviously, we know what happened in his next start, but we'll get to that. Brewers struck out 10 times in this game. Obviously, I've been keeping a pretty close eye on how often the Brewers strike out and how it correlates to wins and losses. But before we go on to the Yankees series, I kind of want to put this question out there. Because we are getting to the last 2 weeks of the season, last week and a half of the season. I want to pose the question to anybody watching, listening, comment on the videos, or send us a message, whatever, comment on any of the related posts. But how do you evaluate the success or failure of teams? So I want to know what makes a manager successful or not successful, or a head coach or managers. So essentially, does it come down to just wins and losses? Does it come down to winning games that you shouldn't have won or losing games you shouldn't have lost? Does it come from making great decisions like the one that Craig Counsell made today, or looking back and seeing bad decisions? Do injuries play a factor in these things? How is the general perception for determining winning and losing for the showrunners, for head coaches, management? And then I want to ask the same question for general managers, whether it be a head of baseball operations or general managers or a president of a team. Does it come down to getting the right players? Does it come down to trade deadline acquisitions or trade deadline not acquisitions, which I think is important to discuss this year with David Stearns not making moves at the trade deadline for the Brewers because it resulted in not paying for players who aren't performing well. It's something I've brought up. Simon, Jake will be on shortly. He said to give him 10 minutes, and that was 5 minutes ago. So I expect Jake to be on in a couple minutes here. But I want to put that out there. And then when it comes to players, so when it comes to players, does it matter just strictly production? Does it matter about being better than average, better than league averages, or does it come to outperforming salary or not dealing with injuries? Because we know Jake and I say one of the best abilities is availability. I'm just kind of curious what people's perception is on these things when it comes to success or failure to meet expectations at each of these positions. Just because we're going to be coming up to the end of Brewer season soon. And these things are going to be stuff that Jake and I want to talk about in the offseason. We're not going to be talking about whether or not Craig Counsell and David Stearns are getting fired 2 weeks before the season, and the Brewers just came off a win and they're still fighting for a playoff spot. So, that's something that Jake and I want to discuss in the offseason. So just want to get people's thoughts on that as we get closer to Bucs season, which actually is worth bringing up. The Bucs have their media day on Sunday, so hopefully we can get some news on the Bucs on Sunday. They play in the Abu Dhabi game. I'm not sure exactly what day that is, but they're playing against the Hawks in Abu Dhabi. So their training camp can actually start 2 days earlier, so the Bucs can actually start training camp on Sunday. So actually that'll be Saturday, but the Bucs media day is going to be Sunday. So hopefully we can get some answers on Jordan Nwora, maybe what some of the rotations are going to look like at shooting guard and small forward. So that's Sunday that media day is coming up. But we're getting close to Badger basketball season. Badger football season is going to ramp up in a big way starting this Saturday. But we're going to stick with the Brewers. So going to Brewers-Yankees, game 1. This was probably the best game of the last week. Yankees jumped out to a real quick 5-0 lead. Basically, Hauser didn't have his best stuff. Ended up giving up 4 walks in his 3 innings pitched, 4 walks and 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 5 runs total. Only had the 1 strikeout, which isn't really his thing anyways. So the Yankees grab a quick 5-0 lead in the first 2 innings. Brewers cut it to 5-3 in the bottom of the second. Actually, in that first inning as well, the Yankees stranded the bases loaded. Willy Adames tied Robin Yount's shortstop record on Robin Yount's birthday. It's one of those things where it's like, baseball. So a ground rule double by Willy Adames again. Opposite field ground rule double, which I think is worth mentioning because I keep bringing up opposite field hitting is something that potentially could help the Brewers. And a sacrifice fly by Roddy Tellez tied the game at 5. I want to bring up Garrett Mitchell and his first 3 at-bats in this game, even before we get farther on. Garrett Mitchell in his first 3 at-bats was 0 for 2 with a walk. Now, in those 3 at-bats, Garrett Mitchell saw over 30 pitches, those 3 at-bats. So while he was 0 for 2 with a walk at that point, grinding out those at-bats, that's something that will help the Brewers in the long run. Not necessarily only for Garrett Mitchell himself, but seeing more pitches, kind of capitalizing and waiting on those mistakes, and just not striking out just for the sake of, swinging at bad pitches. One of the other things that I talked about was if the Brewers could strike out less, would be by defending the strike zone with 2 strikes. And that's something that Garrett Mitchell was doing, like I said, those 30 pitches in those first 3 at-bats. Omar Narvaez had his first multi-hit game since July 30th in the first game of that Yankees series. Granted, he spent some time on the injured list, but it's good to see Omar Narvaez bouncing back. He's a guy that could, if he gets hot, really help the Brewers as they're in this playoff push. Strzelecki and Topa and Hobie Milner all pitched scoreless appearances. Brad Boxberger threw a nasty changeup to strike out. I don't even remember who the third strikeout that he got was, but a 1-2-3 7th inning. And getting to the 8th inning, I want to give Craig Counsell credit for this 8th inning because Aaron Judge, I don't remember who the second batter in that order was. And then I think it was Giancarlo Stanton. I think it was Aaron Judge, Giancarlo Stanton, and I don't remember who the third batter was, but it was top 3 in the Yankees order starting in that 8th inning. And Craig Counsell decided to go with Devin Williams in the 8th inning instead of the 9th. Greetings from Greece into Milwaukee and all in the state of Wisconsin. This is cool when I see this. I think this is really cool to see that people from Greece are watching the show. It's really cool. I get a kick out of that. I'm sure Jake will too.
What up?
We got greetings from Greece again. He still hasn't told us what's his name. We asked. I remember him watching a while back, and we wanted to know how to pronounce his name. But
yeah,
right now he's the guy from Greece, which is cool that somebody was watching our show from Greece.
You know what? I that's not a bad nickname. The guy from Greece.
Greece sounds like a cool place to visit, you know? So I'd be okay with that nickname if I was from Greece.
All right. So right now I'm at the 8th inning of the first game of the Yankee series. I talked about the last game of the Cardinals, 2-game stretch there.
Fuck that
But
game anyways.
yeah, pretty much. So Devin Williams got 2 strikeouts versus the top 3 in that order from the Yankees. And then Garrett Mitchell played hero, got that rocket right back up the middle, and won the game for the Brewers. So I want to give you a chance to give me your thoughts on the first game of that Yankees series, because that was arguably the best game of this last week. Taylor Rogers did give up a 1-run home run that tied the game at 6, but yeah, we'll put Minute Maid on the sponsor list.
Hey, you should. I love that shit, man.
Hey, while you're talking about this game, I'll write it down. So Rogers gave up a run to tie it that brought the game to the bottom of the 9th. But being down 5-0 and coming all the way back to win 7-6, completed the largest comeback of the season for the Brewers. Was a 5-run comeback. So, I gave all of my thoughts. Go ahead and give all your thoughts on the first game from that Yankee series, Jake.
Yep. So keynotes from this game. You just covered it, down 5-0. To come back against a team like the Yankees, again, shows the potential of this team. Garrett Mitchell with a big-time hit. You talked about that. Renfroe, Adames, and Narvaez all had doubles in this game on top of the home run from Adames. Adames was straight up, point-blank period. He was an RBI machine this week. He's still.
I got some stats. If Christopher's watching, he's going to enjoy me. I'm going to be the stat man today.
He's absolutely on fire. Tellez stayed hot. Actually, I thought Justin Topa was very good in this game for the spot that he was put in. He was put in a couple spots, and he looked electric. He struck out pretty soon the new home run king in the AL, Aaron Judge, in a pretty big time moment. He kind of walked it off like, I do this. But yeah, the Brewers were very, very good in this day. It was my first day up on Washington Island, so that was a lot of fun for me watching the Brewers win on a boat. I was watching on my phone on a boat, so that was fucking sick. That's all I'm gonna say.
That just made me think of Lonely Island immediately. I still think the thing that stood out to me this game, aside from the largest comeback of the season, was Willy Adames hitting the Robin Yount record tying home run on Robin Yount's birthday.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
I'm not for sure, but I think a little piece of my dad died when he saw that. I know that he's going to appreciate, what Adames is doing, but, you got to think about the era. Robin Yount was really like that first guy, for the Brewers in my dad's era. He was a young kid. He was the prospect. And he's probably still the best player in our history of our team. I mean, it's pretty good debate for how good he was, how many hits he has, the totality of his career. But I think a little piece of my dad died when he saw that.
Diving catch to save the no-hitter.
True.
Yeah, I don't think you get a big argument from that.
No, I don't think so either.
All right, let's go to game 2 of that series.
Oh, game 2 was Woodruff absolutely just flexing his muscles. He was every bit of Cy Young Award, candidate that you could be in this game if you're Woodruff. 8 innings pitched, 5 hits to 1 earned run, 1 walk with the 10 strikeouts. He was absolutely phenomenal.
He's rocketing up on that double-digit strikeout list in Brewers history. Like Corbin Burns took over that top spot this year, but Brandon Woodruff's rocketing up the order right behind him.
Yeah, in this game is the one where he took over Ben Sheets, right?
He passed Ben Sheets for 4th. Yep.
Yeah, so little piece of me died that day. Because
I still love Sheets was my dad. Was like my dad's favorite Brewer.
You just remember being kids and playing baseball, and you're like, I'm Ben Sheets with the curveball, because he played for Team USA, and that was like kind of our thing.
That was awesome.
The Brewers were kind of bad when we were younger. I won't lie. Also in this game, Adames, like I said, he was an RBI machine. He had 4 RBI. The first game, the second game, he had 3 RBIs, to get him to 92. Yelly with a home run in this game. Adames also had a stolen base in this game, and Yelly also had a double. So, I mean, everything was working. Devin Williams came in, shut that shit down. Like, By the way, it's Devin Williams' birthday, so happy birthday, Devin Williams.
Yeah.
Today. So yeah, this was the one where I was looking at it. You're looking at the pitching matchups, and you're like, yeah, we need to get this one so we can get the series win, because I really didn't feel confident going into Sunday. Jason Alexander versus their ace Garrett Cole. I think we pissed them off a little bit because of what happened. But to hold the Yankees to 1 run, and I know that they've had a lot of low scoring games, but they've had a lot of high scoring games.
Mm-hmm.
That lineup is no joke. So for Woodruff and Williams to only use 2 pitchers and hold them to 1 run, that is definitely something to hang your hat on.
For sure. I mean, Aaron Judge had nothing but compliments to give Brandon Woodruff, talking about how good his fastball is, and then the fact that he mixes in a slider and a changeup and a curveball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's just good things for Brandon Woodruff. That's good confidence for him. So Woody struck out Aaron Judge to start this game on 3 pitches. That's how Brandon Woodruff started this day. And you see that first at bat, strikeout on 3 pitches, and it's like, oh shit, it's going to be one of those days for Brandon Woodruff. And you just get that confidence right away.
Yes, sir.
So bottom of the third, Willie Adames hit his Brewer record home run. Shortstop. I'm going to say something about Willie Adames later on. Spoiler alert. But it's a lot of credit goes to Willie Adames. Josh Donaldson did hit another solo home run. That dude, he cranks. That's what he does.
He can hit, yeah.
So bottom of the 5th, Garrett Mitchell's on first base, and Christian Yelich comes up to bat, and the at-bat's going on, and the announcers are talking about it, like, well, wouldn't it be great to see Yelich hit one into the corner and then watch these 2 run? And BA is asking Bill Schrader, he's like, which one are you going to watch if it happens? And he's like, I got to be honest, I'm going to be watching Mitchell. And sure enough, Christian Yelich hits one right down the line and just off to the races between those 2. So one of the things I want to talk about in the offseason, I want to pose this question, is next season, I'm already predicting that Garrett Mitchell is going to be the starting center fielder in 2023. Mm-hmm. Which one of those 2 do you bat leadoff?
Probably Yelly.
I agree. And you might
I'd probably stick with Yelly.
Yeah. Well, you could stick and with it being his first full season, you could probably put Garrett Mitchell at 9 and almost do the double leadoff hitter thing. But it was just an interesting thought with the way that those 2 work with their speed.
I might put Mitchell 2nd and then put Adames 3rd. Adames can hit for average. He can hit for power, obviously. And he's still got good wheels himself. So you put 2 fast guys in front of him, you're going to get a lot of RBI.
I'm with that. That's fair. It's a good answer. So Brandon Woodruff, this is his pitches by inning. All right. So first inning, 13, second inning, 19, third inning, 16, fourth inning, 8, fifth inning, 23. And it's like, oh shit, man, Woodruff might only pitch 6 innings or so in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth inning, 7, seventh inning, 5, eighth inning, 10. So the 6th, 7th, 8th, he threw a total of 22 pitches in those 3 innings, which is less than he threw in the 5th.
Damn. The Yankees, all I can think of is the Yankees started to feel the pressure and they started to swing a little bit more. Maybe they changed their game plan.
And, Willie did hit the 3-run home run, but he also had a ground out. I think it was on Cabrera. I think it was the ground out. Willie Adames threw the ball from shortstop to first base, 92.3 miles an hour.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So, and I talked about this when I mentioned the first 2 games that I mentioned. The Brewers 8 strikeouts in this game, only 8. That's right around their season average, but a low strikeout total and a win for this game. So that correlation kind of sticking around. So let's go to the 3rd game of that series. Kind of a weird game out of a really back and forth game. Anthony Rizzo came off of the injured list and essentially had his best game of the season. He had been batting 218 or something like that. And then he ended up being 4 for 4 with a home run in this game. Brewers got to strike him out, throw him out, double play to end the 1st inning. Colton Wong got the scoring started with a 2-out, 3-run home run. Actually had 2 walks drawn before that. And then the 3-run home run by Colton Wong. So, drawing those walks with 2 outs is important, obviously, because it ends up scoring the runs.
Mhm.
Tyrone Taylor hit a 2-out solo home run, so that's 4 runs scored with 2 outs to start this game. Luis Urias made a really good defensive stop. Colton Wong just didn't have his foot on the bag. Ended up being an error. And then following that was a broken bat single that led to more runs. And then another single gave New York the lead. Then the Brewers get second and third with 1 out. Rowdy Tellez and Hunter Renfroe both strike out on high fastballs. It's tough. That's just what it is at this point of the season. Yeah, there's not a lot of, what can the Brewers do to improve? Like we've talked about the same things, and pretty much at this time of the year, we're just looking for execution.
Yep.
So, there's not a lot of time for making changes anymore with 13 games to go. So at this point of the season, it's just down to execution. So probably not going to beat the what to improve drum super hard for the rest of the baseball season. There will probably be more improvements to discuss with the Badgers as they get more games in their schedule. But at this point of the season for the Brewers, it's just about execution. It was a rough day for Keston Hiura. He had trouble laying off the high fastball as well. Rowdy Tellez did hit his 31st home run. He was 0 for 11 in that series before hitting that home run. So New York got 2 more off of Trevor Kelly in the 9th. Brewers got 2 back in the bottom of the 9th. Off of the Yankees closer, which I think is worth mentioning just because they're obviously facing the best pitcher in the Yankees bullpen. Jace Peterson came in on a pinch hit and hit a 2-run ground rule double. Colton Wong finished with 3 hits. Tyrone Taylor finished with 3 hits. Willie Adames had 2 hits. The Brewers left 8 on base, and then they were 4 for 15 with runners in scoring position.
We had the bases loaded too, bro. In the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah.
Hiura missed his pitch. He gave him one low because Hiura likes them low in the zone.
Yeah.
He gave him one low in the zone, and he swung out of his goddamn helmet and was like, "You missed it, Keston." I bet he didn't think he was getting that because you said he was struggling with the high fastball.
Yeah. The Brewers struck out 13 times in that game.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, we might got the juice today.
I know.
Baby.
I'm like, Luis Urias came up to bat, and I'm like, he can ding. He can hit dingers. Like, just call one time. Come on, Luis. And obviously, it didn't.
The guy's throwing gas. He's hitting 100. So all you got to do is just make solid contact. The ball's gonna fucking fly, But it is what it is, man. I'm happy that they took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. Yep. My dad was talking because we went up to Door County with my dad. My family went up with my dad, and obviously I'm watching all the games with my dad. And I don't get this perspective all the time, just talking with somebody about the game because I'm with my family. My family doesn't watch baseball. I don't get it with any other sport either. They don't talk sports to me. So it was kind of nice to just kind of get that other side of it. But anyways, my dad was talking, and he was like, watch all the people jump back on the bandwagon after they take 2 from the Yankees. If they take 2 from the Mets, which obviously hindsight, but he said if they take 2 from the Mets, everybody's going to be back on the bandwagon. And I was like, isn't that annoying, man? He was like, yeah, but you can get away with it. Social media.
Yeah. That's where we would just encourage the optimism just all the time. I mean, it costs you the same amount of energy as pessimism, except it's better for your mental health. It really is. I don't just talk about that stuff. I don't just say it's better for your mental health to be optimistic. Like I am legit learning and studying about this kind of thing. I really wanted to, I've kicked around the idea of possibly doing like a 15-minute show one day a week, just talking about the ways that a more positive mindset can actually positively influence your mental health. Mm-hmm. And kind of relating it to sports and not actually talking about anything sport specific. So, if you're watching or listening and would enjoy that perspective, let me know and I'll keep working on it. But I'm not just saying to be optimistic just for the sake of, what have I heard? Believing in unicorns and fairies, having my head in the clouds, living in fantasy world. Those are all things that I've heard just by choosing an optimistic mindset over a pessimistic mindset. So that's, it's just something that if you do it as far as your sports teams are concerned, you'll start to do it in your life, and that can just have a positive impact on you. So that's the approach that Jake and I are choosing to take. And honestly, I think it's done good things for me in my life, not even just as far as sports are concerned. I'm not sure you would agree, but I'm pretty sure you would agree.
Well, I'll tell you the first step. It's probably the hardest step, and this is going to relate with a lot of people. We know you don't like your job. I'm not the biggest fan of my job. I'm sure Tyler doesn't like his job every day. I'm not going to speak for him, but I'm just saying, like, in general, the first step that you have to take is telling yourself to not wake up groggy and crabby, because the first thing you got to do is go to work. That is the first thing, the first hurdle you're going to have to get over. Once you get over that, then you can start taking little things that happen to you during your day at work, or little things that your kids do that used to just send you up the wall or whatever. Take a deep breath every once in a while, and you'll be okay.
Tim loves his job.
Tim loves his job. Tim, where do you work, man? Because I'm trying to love my job.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and I just kind of want to give, a small thing. So this is just the one thing that I would suggest to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Matt's talked about this a lot. That's something that he's working on. Like, Jake and I don't have this down 100% of the time, all the time. We have times where, things frustrate us and stuff like that. We're not 100%. Everything is awesome from the Lego movie all the time.
Yeah,
but we are works in progress. So the thing that I would encourage to start with is, instead of saying what sucks, just say what can improve.
Yeah.
It's a super easy thing. That's something that can help you start changing your mindset on not just sports but life. So that would be my suggestion for a place to start. Let's go to Yankees and Mets. I don't give a shit about Yankees and Mets playing against each other. I hope they both lose. Let's go to Brewers and Mets. More New York. Lovely.
Well, I'm sure Tyler's going to talk a little bit about the Trolls after this game. So Corbin Burns started this game. He gave you 5 2/3, 7 hits. He had 5 earned runs on his head, 1 walk into 4 Ks. So not typical Corbin Burns. Cousins pitched in this game. 1 1/3, a hit, no earned runs, a walk, and 2 Ks. Justin Topa had his 1 blemish for the week. Otherwise, he was very, very good this week. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Strzelecki was very good. No earned runs, 2 Ks. Tellez with 2 RBIs on a homer. And Yelich had 2 doubles in this game. Got him to 25 in the year. So that's pretty good, actually.
Perfect game, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But you know what? After losing the last game of the Yankees, and then losing this one, people were kind of like, oh, our season's over. It's not over. It's still not over at this very moment. We don't know what's going to happen.
Dude, Max Scherzer is an absolute stud.
He is. Absolutely. He's one of the – okay, this is going to be interesting, Kyle. You kind of just reminded me of something. You know how people use superstar way too lightly? They use that label way too lightly in the NBA.
Yep.
I feel like people use the word ace too lightly, because the best pitcher on your rotation is called your ace, right? Well, to me, I feel like that needs to be a specialized word for like a select group of pitchers.
Yeah, it's not every number 1 pitcher on every team is an ace.
Exactly. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. Where like Corbin Burns, he's an ace.
Yep.
You could legit make an argument the Brewers have 2 aces.
Yep.
Woodruff. You can make an argument. I mean, the Mets have 2 aces. That's not even up for an argument.
Yep.
You can look at the Dodgers, and there's a lot of teams that have good pitchers, but not every number 1 pitcher is an ace. So that's just what I'm going to say. But he's definitely an ace. That's end of that discussion.
He had a perfect game through 6 innings and was taken out because he just came off the injured list. I wonder how many Mets fans were freaking out the way the Brewers fans were when Freddie Peralta came out when he had a no-hitter going.
Probably not very much. Well, I don't know. It's New York.
Yeah, it's true.
It's New York.
So Pete Alonso hit a really tough pitch. I give more credit to Pete Alonso for hitting a home run on that pitch than I do bagging on Corbin Burns for making a mistake. And actually, Corbin Burns credited the Mets for the adjustments that they made as they got through their order. You mentioned Christian Yelich with the 2 doubles and Rowdy Tellez driving in the only 2 runs. 13 strikeouts as a team again this game. So, those things, they matter. What I was excited for most in this game is that Jake Cousins was back. He pitched an inning in the third, scoreless, had a walk, a hit, 2 strikeouts, and no runs. So I'm happy to see Jake Cousins back in the lineup, back in the bullpen. What's up, Dan? So that was the most encouraging thing for me. Now listen. After this game, spending time on Twitter, seeing how quickly, like, I get being frustrated. I get it. But the volatility of Wisconsin sports fans that are active on social media, it is way out of hand.
Huh.
Like, trade Corbin Burns out of hand. The dude,
Somebody
even
said that?
after, dude, several people said it.
Oh my god.
After giving up 5 earned runs in 5 2/3 innings, he still had a 3.12 ERA. And people want him traded. I'm gonna pull up the actual tweets just because it's annoying.
I want to hear this, man. Yeah. I just, this is something that I've done for my own mental health. I don't know if anybody else wants to do it, but it's not that I'm trying to avoid them. It's just I know that there's certain people, and Tyler and I, one of our missions is to like correct this. I'll say it that way, not change you, but correct it. You don't have to be negative all the time and trade Corbin Burns. Like, think
Here
a
it
little bit before you talk.
Here it is. This is the exact tweet. Burns has fallen off the table. I think he becomes trade bait. The Mets will put some more nails in the Brewers season. This was after he gave up the home run to Alonso.
Yep.
So the response to me, and I said, so we'll trade the best pitcher in franchise history because he's given up some home runs, which even including today, he's got a 3.12 ERA, is near the top of the NL in strikeouts, 1 year removed from a Cy Young award. I said, make it make sense. I said, recency bias is an ugly monster.
Yes, it is.
So the person responded back to me, said they'll trade their best reliever in Brewer history. There's no way. There's no way they'll be able to sign both, so they'll get the better haul. Paying a reliever is much different than paying a starter, because paying a reliever is going to pitch a quarter of the innings that a starter is going to. So Corbin Burns is going to be right around 180 innings this year, 180 plus innings. Josh Hader is at like 44, 45 innings.
Yeah.
And yeah, for a guy that pitches every 3 days or every 2 days, sometimes back-to-back days, but not often, versus a guy who's going to pitch multiple innings every 5 days. Like, pay the starter. Let the reliever go, pay the starter. So it's
100%.
not really the same thing. So I I just asked. I'm like, just please clarify that you think that trading Corbin Burns is a good idea. Like, I just needed a good laugh that day. So the person responded with saying, please tell me how the Brewers are thinking going to pay both starters. I said, I think trading Hader is part of that. Renfroe will likely be traded this offseason. And then Colton Wong is a free agent. Andrew McCutcheon's a free agent. Omar Narvaez is a free agent. If you include Renfroe, that's 4 of the top 7 earners on the Brewers payroll this year. So trading Hader, I think, kind of clears the way for a potential offseason where Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff both get extended, and maybe even Willie Adames too.
Yeah, please. Well, I have some good news. I believe I saw it today or it was yesterday, but Sal Frelick, has a streak, an on-base streak of like 37 games.
He's going crazy too.
Yeah,
he has multiple hits in like 50% of his games.
Wow.
In AAA. It's like 22 of 44. It's something like that. It's really close to that. But he has multiple hits in like half of his games in Nashville.
If honestly, if they could just get more consistent bats, this team will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
People need to relax.
Yeah. So going into second game, this was yesterday's game. Aaron Ashby is back. Eric Lauer is going to be eligible to return on Friday. It sounds like he's going to be activated for Friday's game in Cincinnati. And then Freddie Peralta is throwing off a mound, so he's going to be back somewhat soon. Matt Bush is back and available, so the Brewers are starting to get healthier, which I think is important because, for the struggles that they've had in the second half of the season, in the offseason, I want to look at where there's injuries overlap because there were a lot.
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I do want to bring it up just to provide some context. So let's go to the second game of that Mets series. What did you see in that game last night?
I'm going to give a shout out to my girlfriend's sister and her family. They were at the game last night. It was her first Brewers game. Too bad they couldn't see a W. Would have been nice. Like you said, Ashby was back. 2 innings, 1 hit. No earned runs, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Strzelecki and Milner had the same line, 1 2/3. No hits, no earned runs, no walks, and a K. Boxberger gave up 3 earned runs. Happens. Rogers gave up 4 earned runs. Happens. Sucks. Matt Bush was back, like you said, 2 Ks, no hits, no earned runs, and Studer had zeros across the board. RBIs, McCutchen and Narvaez had regular RBIs, I like to call them. Adames and Wong had 2-out RBIs. We had 3 of them. Adames with 2 and Wong with 1. And then doubles, McCutchen, Wong, and Adames had 2 doubles last night. Got him to 30.
He had 1 to each way, too. He had 1 regular double and we had 1 opposite field double.
You know what? I kind of feel like pat myself on the back a little bit because I called him going crazy at the end of the year, like a month ago. Now, if they could just get into the playoffs and he's the reason, I'm going to be the smartest man on the planet for 15 seconds.
You should call that for the rest of the players too.
I really wish I could.
If the Brewers could find a way that Rowdy Tellez, Luis Urias, and Omar Narvaez all get hot at the same time, Brewers would be in real business.
We need Renfroe and probably Tellez to get on fire with Adames. Maybe we can just win a bunch of games in a row. Who knows? The Padres could lose 4 games in a row.
The Phillies aren't safe. The Phillies are not safe.
The Phillies could lose a couple games in a row. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. It's baseball. It's crazy. They play a lot of games. Malnutrition, sets in. Your legs get a little tight. I mean, pressure. The Brewers might be able to still sneak in. You never know.
They're not done yet.
You don't give up. You don't give up.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people, man. Right here, man. The ticker, the heart. I don't ever give up. If I'm going to get last place and I'm in a damn race, I'll tell you what. I already know I got last, but my heart will not let me quit. I'm going to finish that goddamn race.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I want to see from the Brewers. Whenever your team's getting their ass whooped, I just want to see heart, okay? The Packers, week 1, I didn't see a lot of heart. I won't lie to you. They got their ass whooped a little bit and they gave up.
Matt LaFleur said it after that he questioned the energy and the effort. So
I didn't see any heart there. You watch Giannis. The Bucks could be down by 20 points. That guy does not give up. And that is the damn reason he's probably my favorite athlete to this day, right now, because he doesn't give up. He's always right here, man. And that's the reason that I love him. And that's what I want to see from the Brewers. So as a fan, Andy Herman talked about it with Packers fans. I'm going to talk about it as Wisconsin sports fans. We can be better. Do not give up. We're right there. We're still literally right there. We're still right there. It's not like we're 8 games behind and it's totally out of the question. We're right fucking there, man.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear none of this giving up shit. It's bothering the hell out of me.
I mean, there's even if you want to give up, just wait 2 weeks to give up.
Yeah, for real.
You only got 2 more weeks left of the season.
Yeah.
There's 13 games left. If you want to give up, just wait 13 more games. You won't catch Jake and I. Yeah, you won't catch Jake and I giving up on it until they're mathematically eliminated.
Yeah, man. And even when they're
still in it.
Yeah.
Weird shit happens in baseball all the time.
True that, man.
It's honestly, baseball, I think, is the only sport where you can have it happen 10 times a year where something happens that hasn't happened in 100 years.
Yeah, man. It is one of those. It is definitely one of those.
So baseball is a weird sport like that. Obviously, the Brewers have had weird things happen to them. They've done weird stuff. So the second game of the series, Ashby went once through the order. I think that was probably the plan with him. strictly because he didn't have any rehab appearances. I saw later on when people are questioning, when Boxberger and Rogers give up runs, they're like, oh, why did they pull Ashby so soon? Like, he didn't have any rehab starts. So he went once through the order, 2 innings, had a lot of traffic in the first inning and got out of it. And
That's
then
my
had a 1, 2,
girlfriend's
3
sister's
second
boyfriend
inning.
right there.
Your girlfriend's sister's boyfriend.
Yeah. Justin.
Math is our friend. Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm going to the Badgers game with on the 1st.
Nice.
Well, man.
So yeah, like, until they're mathematically eliminated, like, what's the point of being pessimistic instead of optimistic? It costs you the same amount of energy. So the Brewers grabbed a 3-run lead in the bottom of the second, a 4-run lead in the 6th inning, and then the Mets scored 7 unanswered. Listen, fact of the matter is the Mets are actually a very good offensive team.
They are.
A team that really, they don't strike out very much either. They've invested in their offense. Obviously, guys like Francisco Lindor and Pete Alonso highlight that order, but they have a lot of contact hitters, which, kind of worked into Hauser's favor a little bit today, but we'll talk about that in a second. So Boxberger had the hit by pitch, a single and a home run. Pete Alonso again. The Brewers had actually retired 14 consecutive batters before that. Now, I've seen it gets down to like a ridiculous point at some point. So I've seen people saying, we need to DFA Boxberger, let him go, whatever. All he does is give up home runs. That was actually only the 6th home run that Boxberger has allowed this entire season.
That's not bad, actually.
Actually was the first home run that he has given up since August 28th. So he basically gives up a home run like once a month. Like, relievers aren't perfect. Obviously, Taylor Rogers show it. To me, the thing with Taylor Rogers, he just couldn't get his slider to bite. Like, you see all the, I don't remember if it was Narvaez or Caratini catching at that point, but every time, they're setting up somewhere, they have to, the hand movement to get the ball out of the zone. Like, that's where Taylor Rogers is aiming. That's not where the ball is supposed to finish. So just, I don't know, it just looked like Taylor Rogers couldn't get any break on his pitches. And then, he ended up throwing one down the middle that got hit out for a grand slam, and the Brewers lost this game last night. It's not. What I ended up seeing was Taylor Rogers needs to not be used at all. And then I'm like, okay, so you're going to get to a point where I've seen Taylor Rogers can't be used, Brad Boxberger can't be used, Luis Perdomo can't be used, Studer can't be used, Matt Bush can't be used. I'm like, at some point you get to a point where Devin Williams and Hobie Milner are the only pitchers you're comfortable with having in the game.
And think about the first 2 weeks of the season. People are writing off Devin Williams. So now Hobie Milner's the only guy left in the bullpen.
Yeah. And, he's given up runs too. So he's not perfect. Strzelecki's given up runs. Like, you can't just say guys can't play because they have bad games. Do you think the Padres, if they make the playoffs, are going to be like, oh, Josh Hader has a big ERA with us, we're not going to use him?
Nope.
Like, yeah, guys have rough goes, but that's called adversity. You got to play through that.
Hell yeah, man.
And like I said, at this point of the season, there's no more like, what can we change? It just comes down to execution. We know what needed to be done. We've talked about it throughout the season. We talked about it coming out of the All-Star break. We know what needs to be done. We know what needed to be improved, what needed to be changed. At this point of the season, it's all just about execution.
Yep. Point blank period.
So today, the Brewers get Trevor Gott back. They send down Jason Alexander. Willie Adames hits a solo shot to give the Brewers a 1-0 lead. His 31st home run of the year. Adrian Hauser pitched a really good game. He's been doing really well, and I'm really proud of Adrian Hauser the way he's been since he's come back from the injured list. 4 2/3 innings, only 3 hits, no walks. It's very important for Adrian Hauser. No strikeouts, which it's not a problem. You're getting outs. We'll take outs however you want to get them.
Any way you can get them.
And no runs. Hobie Milner finished the 5th inning. Trevor Gott back from the injured list, pitched a scoreless 6th. Brad Boxberger of Tuesday infamy pitched a scoreless 7th. Studer pitched a scoreless 8th, and then my guy Jake Cousins pitched a scoreless 9th inning. Shutting out the Mets, that's not a small feat. Like, that's we just talked about it with yesterday's game. Like, the Mets have a good offense. shutting the Mets out, that's, something to be proud of to take momentum into Cincinnati. So Garrett Mitchell had 2 hits and a sacrifice bunt. So Garrett Mitchell lays down a sacrifice bunt after Tyrone Taylor hits a little flare single into center field to drive in a run. So the Brewers have first and second with nobody out. Tyrone Taylor bunts the runner, or Garrett Mitchell bunts the runners over, brings up Christian Yelich. He strikes out, brings up Willie Adames. They intentionally walk him, and Craig Counsell, just a master class, puts in Mike Brasso to pinch hit. Chipotle diet for Christian Yelich. One of the fun facts for Christian Yelich the other day was that he ate Chipotle like 142 days in a row when he was in the minor leagues.
That's insane.
But brings in Mike Brasso to go with the left-handed pitcher. New York brings in a righty to face Brasso. Brasso punishes him anyways and hits a pinch hit grand slam. Now listen to this. Mike Brasso as a pinch hitter is 9 for 15. That is a 600 batting average.
That's insane.
As a pinch hitter. He has 3 home runs and 12 RBI. And hit a grand slam on an 0-2 pitch. It was the 6th pitch that he saw in the at-bat. Was down 0-2 and hit a grand slam.
And 2 outs in the inning. So 0-2 and 2 outs.
Yeah.
We were down to our last strike of the
Bases
inning.
loaded, yeah.
Wham. Atta baby.
So yeah, what did you see any of today's game, or do you have any thoughts that you wanted to throw out there with?
I was following along with it, and I thought you used the perfect word, but you used it in the last game. You talked about adversity, and Adrian Hauser is definitely a guy that faced that this season. Earlier in the year, me and you were kind of like, oh my God, like, is Adrian Hauser washed? Me and you were kind of asking that question. And we were like, is he hurt? What's going on? Well, then he did actually get hurt. And he's come back and he's been phenomenal. So I agree with you on giving Adrian Hauser a lot of credit. He threw 74 pitches today. So that's good to see. Hello. Milner again. And it's good. I love seeing when guys give up runs and they come back the next day and then they just shut them out like Boxberger did.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a sign of a professional, to be completely honest with you. A young guy that gets shelled one day may come back and get put into the game the next day, and he may get shelled again, because you got to learn to just let that shit go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask Jameis Winston in the NFL, he's probably pretty good at that because he gives the ball to the other team a lot, and he still goes out there and still hucks it. He's the best at that. I just wanted to give a shout to James if he comes in here and he hears that. He believes in Jameis Winston for some reason, blindly. But no, it was good to get another win, like you said, stay alive. So we'll see what happens, man. We're going to be scoreboard watching.
Listen, so going into this New York stretch where we're talking 3 games against the Yankees, 3 games against the Mets, what would your best case scenario have been going against 2 of the best teams in their respective leagues?
I originally said that if we take 4, we'll be in the playoffs. Obviously, we took 3, so there's still a shot in my mind that we could still get into the playoffs. Obviously, best case scenario would have been taking 2 out of 3. I'm not going to say winning all 6 because that's impossible to think that way. Obviously, the team would like to win all 6 games.
Right.
But splitting with them and going 3-3 is really not the worst thing in the world because that's 2 very good teams.
Yeah.
There could be an all New York World Series. There legitimately could. I could see it. But
that'd be gross.
Yeah, it would be disgusting. I mean, Isaac in the comments is hoping for an all LA series, but I'm not. But an all New York
the Angels got mathematically eliminated yesterday.
I know, that's why I said he's hoping for it. Not to take a shot at you, Isaac. We might be there in a couple weeks, but an all New York World Series is definitely not out of the question. I'm just going to say that.
I'd be so annoyed.
The Astros are probably making the World Series. And it's probably going to be the Dodgers. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I'd almost rather see the Braves repeat than the Dodgers being.
I was gonna say the Braves, man, they're so good. They got the hitters, they got the pitchers, they got it all, man. The Braves are set up to be really annoyingly good for a long time.
Yeah. Well, better the Braves than the Cardinals.
True that.
Cardinals are going to have 2 of the top 3 MVP candidates.
Angels are fishing.
Astros are going to bring out the trash cans. Yeah.
You know, I'm not a fan of the Astros either. They used to be in our division. So I remember a lot of games against the Astros as a kid. Man,
They were bad for a long time.
They were really bad. I used to love watching us play there because I loved the ballpark with the train on top and shit. I forgot who it was, but somebody on the Brewers just absolutely almost hit the train when I was a kid. But I used to like playing the Astros, so I'm not a fan of them. They were in our division, like I said. But Verlander is undoubtedly one of the top 3 pitchers. In
him and Scherzer, I think, are in the same boat. They're like the father time pitchers. Yeah, Justin said I threw up in my mouth a little bit thinking about an all New York World Series. Yeah, I think we all did. Hey. Can you imagine just all of the annoying like social media posts that would come out of that? Oh God.
Dude, New York is bad, man. Like, I'm so happy the Knicks always suck. The Giants are actually 2-0.
Yeah, but now the Nets are in New York.
Yeah, they suck.
Dude,
they got
all this talent. Dude, there's freaking New York fans already putting the Nets in the finals again.
Okay, let them do it. I don't care. We got the Greek freak.
I'm so sick of this on paper bullshit. Oh, the Nets, they have this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. Cool. Have they gotten out of the second round in the last 3 years?
They didn't get out of the first round last year.
Exactly. Ooh, Ben Simmons wasn't healthy. You had James Harden the year before. Literally had Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant on the same team.
Dude, you still had Kyrie and KD. There's absolutely no way you can get swept in the first round. Absolutely no way. I don't give a fuck what you say. I don't care about none of that.
Dude, losing in 6 or 7 to the team that ended up in the finals, sure.
That's the point I'm going to make about Giannis. Giannis was damn near alone. I mean, I know we had Drew Holiday and we had Bobby. We had our squad other than Middleton, but not having Middleton is humongous just for people who don't watch basketball. Giannis going 7, with that roster against the Celtics, like you said, that went to the finals, is the reason that I jumped him over KD because KD got swept.
Yep.
And he looked like a little bitch in some of those games. I'm just going to be straight up. He was getting bounced around, bro. He couldn't handle the physicality.
Yeah.
That's why I love the playoffs so much, dude. The NBA playoffs. Yeah.
That's good
and
stuff.
I know I might be biased because I love NFL playoffs too. But to me, NBA playoffs is just like, it might be the best playoffs in my life.
You get so much more.
Yeah, you really do.
You get more of, obviously you get more series, you get more games, but I like watching the NHL playoffs as well. Like Major League Baseball playoffs, it feels like there's such high tension for such a low pace game. That makes it feel kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
I don't watch hockey.
Yeah, Simon said NHL. Dude, you should. It's fun to watch even if you're not a fan of it. Like, dude, but I will say, Simon, NHL playoffs, I will say that there's nothing better than Olympic hockey.
Wow.
Oh my God, that is shit. Oh, it's so fun to watch Olympic hockey. I still remember 2012 when TJ Oshie was doing all the shootouts and just goal after goal after goal after goal, like so nuts. But yeah, like NBA playoffs are just fun just because everything has so much more meaning,
Yeah.
We go through 162 baseball season, and then it's like, all right, now these are the games that matter. And, you go through the NBA, the long season, we talk about the dog days of basketball, those January through March months. And then you start getting into April. It's like, all right, here we go. We're getting ready for the playoffs. And then the playoffs are here. And then it's,
man,
it's fun.
I love when they're like hyping up the game on the TV, like you said, the dog days of basketball. And it's like, say it's the, just because Isaac's in here and the Lakers are competing for like the 2 seed and the Bucks are competing for the 1 or 2 seed. And, they're like, oh, the Bucks versus Lakers on TNT. I'm just like, I'm amped, but like, I'm not amped because I don't give a shit, because like, I just want to play KD in the playoffs so Giannis can beat him so people can stop saying that KD's better than Giannis because he's not.
You know what's worse?
Why do people take shooting so important? Yes, I understand that it's important because of Steph Curry, but just because KD can shoot, that does not make him better than Giannis.
Giannis still scores. Like It's scoring is scoring.
Shit pisses
All right.
me off. I want to talk.
What
basketball.
about, what's annoying is like you get like a random Tuesday in March, and
Yeah.
if like the Knicks and the Hawks are on TNT, it's like, why are these two teams, like one is the 12 seed and one is in the play-in, and we're watching this on prime time?
Yeah, right. Dude, I complained about it all last year. How many times do I have to watch the fucking Knicks? How many times? I should look it up before we do our Bucks primer, but how many times do I have to watch the damn Knicks on TNT and ESPN? I don't want to watch freaking Julius Randle shoot 8 for 31. I just don't. I should, like, color me crazy again, but like, I don't want to watch that shit. That shit's annoying. And then, didn't they just pay Barrett? Didn't they just pay RJ Barrett?
I think they're about to.
Well, they're about to.
I don't know. I don't remember if they've extended him yet, but I hope they pay him $30 million a season. That would make me laugh my ass off.
Oh my god.
Wayne, we're about to get to the Badgers. We just got a couple more things with the Brewers, and then we're going to move on to the Badgers.
Yep.
Kim said the only time she watches the NBA or NHL is during the playoffs. Otherwise, she finds them boring to watch. I get that in the middle of the season. Like when the season starts, it's like, yeah, basketball's back, and then you get the Christmas Day games just because like the atmosphere is good there, and then you get like the January through March. That's where it's tough, and that's where like a lot of guys talk about the mental side of the game and having to stay focused during those months.
That's where the
NHL
most though.
Yeah, and NHL is almost on the exact same schedule. They just start like 2 weeks sooner.
Yeah, but the NHL playoffs go so much faster because they don't give them like 3 days off every once in a while. Like, why does NBA do that?
NHL is like every other. NBA is more worried about getting games on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, so give me for power pair this week. I have a feeling I know who your pitcher is going to be, but let's start with pitcher. I think we're going to have the same two for both of these, but I got some good stats when we get to the position player.
Nope. Pitcher were different. I went Justin Topa. I like how he came back, and like I said, he had a really big strikeout against Aaron Judge.
Had such a long road of recovery too. It's cool to see him back.
That's part of the reason why I felt like his impact on the game and his presence in the locker room was kind of a big thing, And like I said, he had the really big strikeout against Aaron Judge in that game, which was an important game. All of them have been important for a while. So, Justin Topa, and he had 3 innings pitched. He had the one bad outing, like I said, where he gave up 2 earned runs in his 1 inning pitch. So it makes his numbers look a little bit worse. But overall, he was very good. He had 2 good outings and 1 outing. So 3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. One of those Ks was absolutely massive. That was the one where I was kind of like, all right, Brewers are taking this motherfucker.
Brent Studer had kind of a similar week. He had 2 2/3 innings, didn't give up any runs. Actually, I think you add in today, and that would be 3 2/3, I think. So I went with Brandon Woodruff. Like, I went with the obvious one. Just to go 8 innings against the Yankees and strike out 10. That's putting on your big boy pants and getting to work.
100%.
Brandon Woodruff, I mean, he had basically 1 bad game the entire second half of the season.
I agree.
So very pleased with Brandon Woodruff. I have a feeling I know who your position player is, but
we have the same one. It's Willie Thomas. There was no other choice. He was an RBI machine. I was gonna say we should do 1, 2, 3 and try to do this Fortnite dance at the same time, but no, just 11 for 26, 7 runs, 3 home runs, 6 walks, and 10 RBIs. That's a fucking week, dude.
Dude, you want to hear some nasty Willie Adames stuff?
Yes, I do.
He raised his OPS 18 points in the last week. 18! That's insane this late in the season. He had a 9-game hitting streak that was snapped on Monday, and then yesterday came back and hit 4 hits in yesterday's game. Yeah, Wayne, we won a World Series too. I mean, we waited 50 years for the Bucks. Hopefully, it doesn't take 50 years for the Brewers, and doesn't take them another 10 years to get to the World Series again.
That would suck.
But we'll talk about some of that stuff in the offseason, But Willie Adames. So check this out. This is nuts. So Willie Adames' last 31 games. All right, his last 31 games.
Yes.
40 for 124. That's a 323 batting average. 8 home runs and 28 RBI.
Holy fuck.
Dude, he's got, after today now, he's got 32 home runs. Bro, he missed 3 weeks of the fucking season. He's got 32 home runs.
The man is balling, dude. Straight up.
He missed the last 2 weeks of May and the first week of June, and he still got 32 freaking home runs. Are you kidding me?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my God, dude.
And almost 100 RBI.
Dude, he'd be 35, 40 home runs at the pace that he's at had he not missed those 3 weeks of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Dude Willie Adames he's a stud. He's a stud. He's one of the best shortstops in baseball. It's not a hot take to say that. It might be for some, but it's really not. When it comes to home runs, like Corey Seager for the Rangers is like the only one who's on his pace for home runs. Like Trey Turner's really good and Francisco Lindor is pretty good, but Willie Adames he's in that company, I would say. I'd say he's at the bottom of that top tier, but he's in the conversation.
I agree with that.
All right, so for the Brewers, they have 13 games left. They have 4 starting tomorrow in Cincinnati. Eric Lauer is going to be back on Friday. They're off on Monday after that 4-game series. They have 2 at home against St. Louis, 4 at home against Miami, and 3 at home against Arizona. So they have these 4 games in Cincinnati, and then their last 9 games are all at home, where they've been better actually the second half of the season. It's Brewers are 2 games back of Philadelphia for the last wild card spot. Kind of think about it as 3 games back with needing to be ahead of the Phillies because they don't have the tiebreaker. But 13 games to go. It's not over.
I would say they need to win 10 or 11 games to have a shot, if I'm being realistic.
Yeah. I mean, they're sliding hard. Like they've lost 4 or 5 in a row now. They play tonight. It's annoying having to cheer for the Cardinals, but they play the Padres. So the Padres losing helps the Brewers just because if both of those two teams keep losing, it just keeps the door open for the Brewers and gives them a chance to grab one of 2 spots instead of one of 1. But you're not going to catch Jake and I ending the season before the season's over. We'll talk about the offseason in the offseason.
Yep, always a chance.
Yep, until they're mathematically eliminated, they're still in it. So that's the way Jake and I are going to approach it.
I agree.
It'll be a very interesting conversation to see what happens next Wednesday when we're talking about the Brewers.
A lot can change in a week, man. We could be in that wild card spot by next Wednesday. We could. I mean,
it's realistic. It's a possibility that we could either next week be talking about, the Brewers' magic number is 3, or the Brewers are mathematically eliminated, and we're just going to try to have fun these last 6 games.
Yep.
Both of those things are possible.
Agreed.
But they can still do it. So let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. You got anything else you want to say about the Brewers and baseball before we switch to football?
Nah. I'm ready to talk football now. I got my football brain on. All
right. You don't have your basketball brain on again?
I'm excited for basketball. I mean, obviously, Tyler helped me get a gig because he's my guy. So I'm going to be writing for Behind the Bucks Pass now. So I just been, ever since I got the email, by the way, I didn't text you, but ever since I got it, I just been like, man, I'm ready to just switch into basketball mode and just hammer out some articles and give my opinion and have people call me a fucking moron. I'm ready for it all, baby. I'm very much prepared for that.
The fact of the matter is, when it comes to putting your opinion on sports out there, the fact that, people are willing to put it out there in public, quote unquote, in public, because we're doing this online, obviously. But the fact that anybody can come and comment on our stuff and they can say, oh, who are you to say this, or this? It's like, we at least, I'm not saying that it makes somebody,
better.
It doesn't make us better by putting our opinions out there in public, but we're stating them for anybody to see. only types their opinion, is less of a fan or has a lower intelligence. But like Jake and I, we're putting our opinions out there, which takes a little bit of courage, just because anybody can comment on our video and say, "Oh, you guys suck. All Wisconsin sports suck." Whatever. Bottom line is, we're here putting out our opinion.
And to that, I'm going to say this: you can have healthy debate. Okay.
Sure.
So Tyler and I are going to put our opinions out there. Tyler's been hammering out articles for a while now. He writes for the Brewers, and he also writes about Fortnite. So give those a read. But we can have healthy debate. If I'm going to write an article about how Giannis is the best player in basketball, not just the Eastern Conference, and you're going to come out and be like, "You're a fucking idiot. How do you think he's better than Durant?" Why can't you be like, "Okay, I see your angle, and first of all, Simon, fuck you. You suck worse than us. You get fired every day."
You're fired. Yep.
Why can't you come at me and be like, "Well, this is why I think KD is the best," and then we can kind of have counter arguments going off each other. Like, why can't we just debate like that? Why do you have to go at somebody and be like, "You're an effing moron," And I'm really starting to sound like Gary Vee. It's really pissing me off a little bit, but it's like you can be kind while disagreeing. You don't have to just turn into an asshole, And that's kind of the thing that Tyler and I are focused on. And I've really, like I said, man, I've really been trying to flip my brain onto the first comment I'm going to get is somebody going to be like, "This is horrible. Why would you even put this on the internet?" And I'm just like prepared for the worst.
All right, well, let's start with the offense. What did you see from the offense in the Badgers' win against New Mexico State, besides finishing a field goal short of their goal?
Oh, man, I was so pissed. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" We got that touchdown, right? And we took a little break because we were out all day, and we went and drove go-karts and shit. And my dad was like, "They're not kicking field goals up this much." They kicked the field goal, right? And they get to 66. I'm like, "Dad, they kicked the field goal."
Too. They had it, and it got called back on a penalty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, they could have had it."
They could.
And they ended up kicking a field goal. I'm like, they just need one more freaking field goal.
Dude, you know what we would have did if they got to 69, bro? We would just played music and had like a dance party. Like,
we would have just been giggling literally from Saturday through Wednesday.
Oh, all day. I don't know if it got to 69. And Cody almost called it, by the way. That would have been the best part. But
at the end of the day, we're all here for, we're trying to get people to increase their mental health, and then at the root of everything, we're just giant man children.
How do you not laugh at 69? That's funny. But what did I see on offense? I saw a lot. I saw a lot of offense, and I saw 3 rushers with 70 yards. I saw Graham Mertz having a big day, 251 yards. I saw us averaging 16.8 yards per pass. I saw us averaging 5.7 yards per rush. So we're 2 of 6 on third down. We only had the ball for 31 minutes, which you say only, but the Badgers usually dominate time of possession just by the way that they play.
So 2 of those drives being really short were ones that they got the ball basically in the red zone.
Yeah.
So short drives from that.
The one interception, the guy literally stumbled for like 9 yards and tripped over his own shoelace.
That was Jung Meta.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, dude,
Unicorns
you
and
literally only
rainbows,
had to fall 3 more feet. You got to fall 3 more feet. You fell 12 feet up to that point. You had to do 3 more feet. But you know what? It got Braylon Allen another touchdown, so it is what it is. We knew this game was going to be a blowout. Obviously, we didn't know to this extent.
We apparently didn't pick it as big of a blowout as it was. They were favored like 51.5.
Who was?
Badgers.
51.5?
51.5. And the over-under was 58.
Holy shit.
So,
well,
essentially the Badgers were essentially picked to win 51-7.
That's insane.
Or 52-7.
Yeah. Well, I was a little lower. I predicted 45-3, I believe, right? Yeah, I predicted 45-3 last week. That was my prediction.
Let's see. I don't even remember what mine was. 27-6. I picked it low.
Wow. Neither of us saw 60.
Yeah.
That being said, we had 595 total yards. We were good on offense. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So Braylon Allen scored his first touchdown on a 39-yard touchdown. I did mention this, that it seems like the Badgers, the games that they score big points, are the games where they have big plays.
Yeah.
So 39-yard touchdown. Both of his next 2 touchdowns came from inside the 5-yard line. Ches Malusi had a touchdown from 3 yards out. Keontez Lewis scored a touchdown on a perfectly thrown ball by Graham Mertz. He made basically only 2 mistakes. Obviously, the interception that got tipped, which, it is what it is. But that ball, he basically just needs to get a little more air under it. A, that would have prevented it from getting tipped. And B, if he can get it over that defender and then into his receiver's hands, that's really a next level thing from Graham Mertz. Like we've been pretty supportive of Graham Mertz these last few weeks because he's looked pretty good. But that's a next level thing is being able to get some arch on the ball and kind of rainbow that into his receiver. And then he missed DK on a pass early in the game. Other than that, he was very good. The Graham Mertz, Skylar Bell connection worked out very well. Graham Mertz put a really good pass on Skylar Bell for the first touchdown. He was able to basically catch the ball, jump in, back in towards the middle of the field, and then score the touchdown. I think the ball placement on that is a little underrated just because it kind of made Bell, like I said, go back towards the middle of the field, which caused the safety to overcommit towards the sideline. And Bell basically walked in with a touchdown. The second one that he had to Bell was an absolute dime. Arguably the best throw that Graham Mertz has made this season. Like right on the sideline in the end zone. And Skylar Bell was able to get both of his feet down. That was
an NFL touchdown. I was going to say
that was an absolute dime by Graham Mertz. So going to the third quarter, so Graham Mertz really only played like 2 quarters and 10 minutes of this game. Like 5:34, they put in Miles Burkett, who actually looked decent. I do think the Miles Burkett, Dean Ingram connection was pretty good. I do think that Ingram made Burkett look better. He underthrew a couple balls, and Ingram went and got him and kind of made Burkett.
He took one of them for sure.
Yeah,
he
the
took
first
one
that he
for
threw.
sure. Yeah.
After that, the only other thing that I really want to say about the offense, and this is something that obviously he's in his second year and he's only 18 years old, but I'd like to see Braylon Allen work on his pass blocking. So that's one thing I've noticed. Vito Calvaruso was out for this game. I don't remember what his first name, but Van Zelst was 9 for 9 on extra points and 1 for 1 on the field goals. So that's, some confidence that you get there on the field goals, which was something that kind of haunted the Badgers a little bit last Saturday against Washington State. But let's switch to defense. What did you think about the Badgers defense versus New Mexico State's offense?
They were okay. Obviously a lot of garbage time yards. We gave up 242 total yards, 124 pass, only 4.1 yards per pass, 118 rush yards, only 3.3 yards per rush. 4-15 on third down, and they had the ball for 28-43. But I mean, that's pretty standard for a Wisconsin defense. That's kind of what I expect them to do every game, which is unreal. Not the 4.1 yards per pass, because that's
insane.
That's next level shit. But the 3.3 yards per rush, they are 100% capable of doing that every game.
Oh yeah.
But the 4.1 yard, if they do 4.1 yards per pass against Ohio State,
oh my god,
we will be talking some shit. We will be talking some shit.
Oh man, that would be insane.
Against Stroud, bro, he has 11 touchdowns and no picks. So we definitely we'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna have good stuff for that.
I feel like the D-line was a little better this game, a little bit more physicality. I would like to see the linebackers flow to the ball a little bit better. I talked about it last week. I feel like we were so lucky last year with all the linebacker talent we had. I mean, Sanborn, stud, Chanel, stud.
Dog.
I mean, Herbert,
Chanel,
dog. Yeah.
Sanborn, dog.
I mean, they
Herbert,
are.
dog.
Grit factory, baby. But, we had such a good linebacking core last year that watching this year, you knew there was going to be some bumps in the road. If they could just flow the ball a little bit faster, read the play a little bit better, I think they'll be just fine. But that's being nitpicky. That's my nitpick for the week.
That's fair. So looking at it, I want to give Ricardo Hallman some credit because the one-handed interception that he made
yeah.
that was sweet.
That was nice.
The other 2 interceptions that the Badgers produced were both off of tipped balls. So just guys being aware and being ready to catch a ball that's just flying in the air at them. The run defense looked good early. They did give up some late stuff. New Mexico State didn't get their first down until under 3 minutes left in the second quarter.
Yeah.
That's dirty.
We dominated them.
So they had a 3rd and 11. Nick Herbert got an 18-yard sack. Despite not having a super big stat line in this game, Nick Herbert was in the backfield like constantly. And then I want to give Njong Meta some credit. He got the interception, got down to like the 1-yard line. He had 16 tackles in the first 2 games. And he had 4 more on Saturday. He's the team leader in tackles right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the team leader in tackles right now. So some interesting things with this game. I have it on here somewhere. 23 different players for the Badgers made tackles.
You took that from me, you bastard.
I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm looking and I'm scrolling and I get down to the defense and then I'm scrolling to see who made tackles and I'm still scrolling and I'm still scrolling and I'm still scrolling.
I'm telling you,
damn, this list is long.
Yeah, bro, that was me last week when I was like, holy crap, almost 50 players got a tackle in the game. That's crazy.
So going by quarters, the Badgers only scored 7 points in the first quarter. They scored 28 in the second quarter, 21 in the third quarter, and then 10 more in the fourth quarter when all the backups were in. The Badgers were 2 for 6 on third down, so there is some room for improvement there. And then Jake mentioned New Mexico State was 4 for 15 on third down. That's okay. I mean, that's where you want to keep teams. But the Badgers can definitely do better than 2 for 6. So this will be interesting to see. Give me your 3 stars of the game.
Well, I got Skylar Bell because he was very good.
Naturally.
4 receptions, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, 49 yard was long. I have Isaac Garendo because I feel like he was the second best running back. 12 carries, 74 yards, 2 touchdowns. He has really, really good body control for a big guy.
He's good. He's legit good.
You can tell the guys who have good body control when they're going like this and only the bottom half moves.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that have the body control and they're big and fast and strong.
Kieran Jones.
Yeah, for real. And then I have I want to give him a nickname, but I'm gonna wait a week. But I have Graham Mertz. 12 of 15, 251 yards.
You can't just tease me like that. You gotta tell me now.
I want to call him Money Mertz, baby. Money Mertz. He could be the new Money Manziel. Money Mertz, baby.
I thought you were gonna call him like Graham Cracker or something. I'm like, I gotta know what it is because
Graham Cracker. Graham Cracker. No, Money Mertz, baby. That just this is like a Packer story, but Jair Alexander posted some shit after the game, and somebody asked the question in the comments. Do you prefer Ja Island or Ja Money? So let me get your response. What would you rather call him? Ja Money or Ja Island?
Honestly, I just call him Jair. So like,
I'm a Ja Money guy. I'm Team Ja Money. How many corners have been called an island? Think about that. The originality factor. But Ja Money? No, they call. I mean, Champ Bailey was told he was a cornerback putting him on an island. I mean, Revis Island. I get what you're saying.
Revis Island is really the only one that I think of specifically the word island.
I mean, that's fair, but it's not original. Ja Money is original. Like, he's money. He's coming up big. Like Ja Money. That's why Money Mertz. Like, that's baller right there.
I mean, that's not as original though. Like, you got the Money Manziel to go to Money Mertz.
Yeah, I know. See,
if he beats Ohio State this weekend, I'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we got to think of a nickname for him. Dude, if he earns a victory in Ohio State, and also to that point, all the people giving up on sports, if we go to Ohio State, no getting on the goddamn bandwagon.
Yeah.
You're kicked off for the rest of the year.
You're kicked off if you jumped off after week 2.
Yeah, you're off for the rest of the year, damn it.
So for me, I also had Graham Mertz on my list. He had 251 yards on 10 completions.
Yeah, The guy was going nuts.
10 completions and 3 of them were touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's like Alan Lazard scoring 5 or 8 touchdowns on 40 receptions. If Alan Lazard scored touchdowns on 40% of his receptions, like imagine if Graham Mertz threw touchdowns on 30% of his completions. At every 100 touchdowns or every 100 passes he completed, he had 30 touchdowns.
Oh.
That'd be insane.
We'd be calling Wiseman Mertz.
Yeah. So he completed passes to 6 different receivers as well. So last week, one of the things that I was calling for as one of my keys to victory was Graham Mertz remaining efficient. And I would say 10 for 13 for 251 yards and 3 touchdowns fits that bill.
I could see Lazard having a similar year.
Watch Lazard have a similar year. We statted out the Packers. I don't remember what we predicted for Alan Lazard. Probably something around 90 touchdowns. For him to have a 40% touchdown rate on 90 receptions would be like 22 touchdowns.
Oh. That'd be insane.
That would be insane. So the other ones that I went with, obviously I had Skylar Bell on there. I kind of cheated, and I went with the running back room as a whole. So Braylon Allen was 15 for 86 and 3 touchdowns at a 5.7 yards per carry. Ches Malusi, you said Isaac Garendo could have been the second best running back of the day. I think Ches Malusi could have been the second best running back of the day. He only had 10 carries, but he had 71 yards and a touchdown and a 7.1 yards per carry.
That's true.
And then Isaac Garendo had the 12 for 74 and 2 touchdowns. He had 6.2 yards per carry. And then you can go even farther and go to Julius Davis, who had 5 for 45, including a 33-yard run that set up the field goal.
Yeah, he did pretty good, actually.
So between all of them, that is 42 rushes for 276 yards.
That's a lot.
That's 6.6 yards per carry between the 4 of them and 6 touchdowns.
That's also a lot.
So many touchdowns.
Both of those
We're gonna do when we get to Ohio State, like it's insane some of the ways that this goes. But give me your underrated performer from this game.
I actually picked Ches Malusi for this reason. I wanted to give the backups a little bit of love. I mean, Garendo, like I said, could have been the second best running back.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Malusi. He came back from the injury.
Yep.
And, for a guy who's really not known for his power, he runs tough, man. And I appreciate that. I really like Ches Malusi. He, like you said, 10 for 71 and a touchdown. I mean, he's only going to get stronger as the year goes on. Yep. You gotta think he's coming back from injury. So these are kind of like warm-ups.
He was a new transfer last season, so he was still basically. I don't remember what week he got hurt in, but he's played less than 10 games with the Badgers, despite this being his second year with the team.
Yeah, and a new offense coordinator, new system. So
true.
We'll have to see what conference play, looks like. But I think Ches Malusi this week and going forward is going to be very, very vital to the Badgers' success. I mean, you could talk about Braylon Allen, but that's like saying Aaron Rodgers is important to the Packers. Well, right. You fucking think?
You don't say. I went with Nick Herbig just because, like I mentioned, he was in the backfield most of that game. He did only have 3 tackles, but he did have 1.5 tackles for loss and have the sack that resulted in an 18-yard loss. So I went with Nick Herbig as my underrated performer just because he didn't have, eye-popping stats, but I do think he still made an impact on the game. So I went with Nick Herbig. So I mentioned basically like the main thing that I was looking for improvements so far is Braylon Allen's run blocking or pass blocking. I'm not sure if there's a ton of other things that stood out to you so far as we're 3 games into the season of what the Badgers can improve. I think we're going to get some good stuff for this segment on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm still watching the offensive line. I was big on it last week. I feel like they improved a little bit. I mean, but you got to take the opponent into a factor. So you got to be mean on the O-line, man. You got to want to just absolutely demolish that guy across from you. So I want a little bit more mean. I want a little bit more physicality, because these guys can definitely take it. So that's what I'm going to be watching for. The battle in the trenches is going to be big this week because Ohio State gets all the athletes. Yeah. So if we can win that line of scrimmage, that'll go a long way to, getting rid of that talent disparity.
So let me phrase this question to you. Let me pose you this question.
Uh-huh.
So you're talking about the Badgers' offensive line being better and winning the trenches. You go from potentially being in a position where you don't have, maybe necessarily the talent or the athleticism. How can the Badgers still control the line of scrimmage with arguably not as much talent?
Well, I'll tell you this. Some of it also goes on the play caller, right? So you got to set your guys up for success. So we can't just drop back and hand the ball off and power I all game. It's not going to work, right? You have all those talented players in Ohio State. They're gonna read and they're gonna react to that. So not only stretching them vertically, with Mertz down the field, give them some play action passes, let him dump some easy
He's shown
ones.
he can complete some deep balls. He's done it.
Dude, he has great touch and great ball placement this year so far. I'm just going to say so far. But he's been very good this year. So give him some play action, give him some bootlegs. You have to stretch the defense horizontally as much as you do vertically. Get their eyes moving. These are still young kids, right? So if you run power I and you run a good power run, say you get 6 yards, right? Now you set yourself up for second and manageable is what they call it. Now you got second and short, second and manageable. That play sheet goes like this to this.
Second and short is where you take your deep shots.
Yeah. I mean, and old school Badgers, they're going to probably try to run the ball again. And then they're going to put all the pressure on Mertz to complete a pass on third down. And you're not going to always complete the pass on third down. So then you put yourself behind the sticks, right? So, do some play action passes. Let Mertz run for a freaking first down every once in a while. He's got enough athleticism to do that too. So you got to stretch them horizontally as much as vertically. Set your lineman up to win those matchups. Because all of a sudden, you're running power I, right? He's running straight at you. The guys can get used to that. They can get used to running straight at you. Now you have Mertz or even a jet sweep, right? Run a jet sweep with Skyler Bell. He gets a jet sweep going this way. All of a sudden, the guy starts looking this way. You're like, oh, shit, I'm trying to push this way. And the guy's running past me. I
said that on Sunday when we were talking about Christian Watson being used in some of those end-around jet sweep type things. What it does is it makes it so that the defensive line can't just go north and south.
Yeah.
You get them even just a half a step going east and west. That's all that a 6'7", 330-pound lineman needs to get you away and open up a hole for a running back.
Yep.
It's that split second of hesitation that you're going left or right instead of up and down, and the Badgers' offensive line can move you.
Yep, 100%.
So it's just going to be, when we're talking about how these things can improve, Braylon Allen, as far as run or pass blocking goes, it's just going to be experience. He just needs more time doing it. So as far as the offensive line is concerned, it's just going to be keeping Ohio State guessing. I think is a way that the Badgers can improve the offensive line is to not be predictable, basically.
I agree.
All right, so let's move into the Badgers offense versus Ohio State's defense. What are you looking for from the Badgers offense?
Well, I wanted to start with this. So Ohio State's number 3. We're unranked, obviously. Mm-hmm. So I went into the ESPN Football Power Index, which is on the ESPN app. They have Ohio State
as well.
Yeah, with an 89% chance to 89%. Win. And Ohio State is negative 18, like minus 18. They're favored to win by this game, like by a blowout. And the over-under is 57. So they don't expect us to show up. So you got quarterback Graham Mertz. Everybody counted you out because you had a down year last year. You got a linebacker at running back. You got an offensive line that's, not been playing great. You got a bunch of wide receivers that nobody knows about. We're going into Columbus, Ohio, and we got a team that's averaging 39.3 points per game. That's pretty damn good, in my opinion. 478.7 total yards, 260 pass, 218 rush, and they are 14 to 30 on third downs. So that's 47%. That is 28th in the whole country. It's not bad. I mean, when you start looking at third down percentages, and, you can look them up yourself. I can share the website if you guys want to, the website that I was on. But they're all really close. So being 28th, you're basically tied with like 10 people. But you got a team in Ohio State that gives up their 22nd and third down. So we're going to have to win third downs. We're going to have to put ourselves in short and manageable. And we're going to have to use the goddamn play action.
We posted the Bernie Sanders meme
I'm
on Saturday.
asking
That we're
for
once
it
again
again.
we're asking for play action.
This is the game for play action because
Yes.
Ohio State. I tried to look up their defense. They don't have many defensive stats, surprisingly, for all their
It's
blowout
hard to
wins.
find for college football.
But they don't have a lot of sacks, a lot of interceptions. But they have athletic defensive ends that want to get up the field and get the quarterback. Because when you go to Ohio State, you're really going there to go to the NFL. It's an NFL factory, point blank period. So run some play action, get those guys running upfield, maybe run a screen or two. I mean, why don't we run some more screens? The Packers run a lot of screens. Now we just integrated a new screen with Romeo Doubs, getting the lineman out in front of him. We have a freaking convoy of people, in front of him, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. So Mertz talked a couple weeks ago. I wanted to say this last part, and I'm going to give you the floor. He talked a couple weeks ago about wrinkles. There's wrinkles in this offense. I'm looking for more of those this week, and I think it's going to be some screen passes.
I mean, if there's a week to open up the entire playbook and say we're going to throw everything we got at this team, it's against Ohio State.
Oh, 100%.
In Ohio.
100%.
So for me, I'm thinking like the confidence is the highest that it's been in a while as far as the offense is concerned. Confidence is high in their execution. The balance feels good between the run and the pass. 100%. It's going to be, just needing Graham Mertz to stay sharp like he has the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
It's going to be all hands on deck for the wide receivers. So everybody, like I said, Graham Mertz completed passes to 6 different players last week. All 6 of those guys and more are going to be needed. This thing is something that stood out to me is Braylon Allen joked about it. He said, if we have to throw the ball 50 times, so be it. He was obviously joking. The Badgers aren't going to throw the ball 50 times, but guys are all in on doing whatever it takes to win. Ohio State's defense, I will say, they held Notre Dame to 10, but let Toledo score 21.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
and it wasn't all garbage time either. Like Toledo scored 7-7-7 and then 0 in the fourth quarter.
Huh.
So it wasn't like Toledo scored 21 against all of Ohio State's third string defenders.
True.
What I will say about Toledo, they only completed 12 of 23 passes. Basically 50%. Graham Mertz is completing 71% of his passes this year.
Yes, he is.
So that's the matchup I'm watching. It's going to be Graham Mertz. I'm just going to basically all eyes on Graham Mertz. I'm not sure if that's also the matchup that you're watching.
Yeah. You watch Wisconsin, you expect power run. You expect us to run the ball. So I also have Graham Mertz. That's going to be a great matchup. I think, in the Badgers, we always talked about them being a quarterback away. He makes a couple throws this week. You never fucking know, man. And all of a sudden,
he's got an extra year.
Wisconsin's back on the map, right? We're right back on the map. We go to Ohio State and beat Ohio State. Nobody's going to hold, and then we go on a run. We just win a bunch of games in a row, 5, 6, 7, just like last year, right? And we have the one loss. And everybody gave up after the one loss. They go into Ohio State, to be said, I also have this pegged as a loss, not an 18-point loss like ESPN. Fuck you guys. But, you never know. If they go into Ohio State and they win, man, I might be talking some shit. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, so here's how I'm going to transition this from the Badgers offense to Ohio State's offense. The Badgers' top 3 running backs have 102 carries and 9 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State's offense, their top 3 running backs have 82 carries and only 4 touchdowns. So 20 more carries, 5 more touchdowns.
They try to sling it with Stroud. They want quarterback recruits.
That's pretty much all they're doing. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping I don't have this as my X factor or anything, but I'm hoping the Badgers that Nick Herbig can create some havoc in this game.
Oh, what a game to put yourself on the map, dude.
Right?
Prime time.
Nothing like getting yourself drafted in the 3rd round after having a big game against Ohio State.
Well, you're going against NFL talent.
So with that being said, CJ Stroud is completing 72.9% of his passes. Mm-hmm. It's basically just 2 guys. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. and Emeka Egbuka. Those are the 2 big guys. Those 2 have combined for 8 of 11 of Stroud's touchdowns.
Yeah, I felt like I was throwing up when I tried to say that one guy's name. When I was looking at the stats, I was like, oh my God.
YouTube magic. Well, I mean, like Emeka Emezi was in the NFL draft in 2022. So, like, I had the Emeka part, and it's the same as Emeka Okafor. So, like, I had that. I had to look up Egbuka just to make sure I was saying it right, and I was. So I got that going for me.
Who's you remember that one guy, Simi Fidoko or whatever?
Oh, Semi Fehoko?
He was playing a lot this last week.
Because the Cowboys are out of wide receivers.
But he was playing. He had a penalty, but I was like, God damn it, I love that guy.
I know. It was like I got really excited for him. Like his stats were awesome, and he's coming out of Stanford. Then he doesn't get drafted by the Cowboys. Like, come on,
right?
man.
Same thing with Jake Ferguson, former Badger.
Yeah,
that's all right.
They've drafted like tons of our offensive linemen though, so kind of used to that.
And their offensive line stays good.
One of them was Doug Free. He's actually from Manitowoc.
Yeah, he is. My mom knows him.
So the other thing with Ohio State, they put up 763 yards last week.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's all of the yards.
That is all of them.
Yeah, all of them. There's literally no more yards. They gained all of them. The other thing with Ohio State is they converted 62% of their third downs last week.
Yep. They're pretty good at third downs overall.
Yeah. I'm not sure. What are you looking for from the Badgers defense against Ohio State's offense?
They're still 62% on the season on third downs, just so you know. Not just one game on the season, which is third in the nation. Do you want to know who's first on third down percentage for offense? It's Big Ten. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Is it Minnesota?
Yeah. You know who's first for defense? Also Minnesota.
I
was like, what the fuck?
They also played New Mexico State.
They did. So
they won that game 38-0. So
that helps the stats. I'll say that. Ohio State's obviously they're just a straight up juggernaut. They're always good on offense. They're good on defense too. They're just good. Yep. They average 565 total yards, 358 pass, 207 rush, and they're averaging 47.7 points per game. Now take that for what you will. They've played Notre Dame, Arkansas State, and Toledo. Obviously, Tyler just told you they had 700 plus yards against Toledo last week, so that'll help the stats. Notre Dame is always overranked. I don't really care.
True.
And Arkansas State is Arkansas State. So neither team has really played anybody. I mean, obviously Notre Dame was ranked number 5, but they're
literally out of the top 25 already.
I literally feel I feel like they ranked them number 5 just because they were playing Ohio State in the first week and they wanted a big juicy matchup. That's really what I feel like. Like they probably looked at Notre Dame like, is this team really number 5 in the country? Probably not. But it looks good on the television screen. And then they are out of the top 25, like you said. So they haven't really played anybody either. What I'm looking for is our front seven to wreak some havoc. Control the run. They don't even have to get sacks, but just pressure Stroud. Make him uncomfortable. Yeah. Make him move in the pocket. Make him flush.
Antsy.
Yeah. Maybe make him pull a Justin Fields where he's 5 yards past the line of scrimmage and he tries to throw it downfield. Because
he was only 2 yards past the line. Come on, man. Give him some credit. He was only way past the line. He wasn't way past the line.
Dude, he freaking threw the ball, and I was just laughing. I was watching. I was like, there's no fucking way that was legal.
Collinsworth was trying to make it sound good. He's like, well, he's only got to have 1 foot behind the line of scrimmage.
Bro,
here's a guy who is 2 yards fully past the line of scrimmage, but he's only got he's pretty far past it.
Yeah. How do you even try to make that positive? That's just one of those ones where you're just like
I know Collinsworth is doing his job, but come on, Chris. Let's be honest here.
You call it like it is every once in a while, right? Call a spade, right? Like, just say something like he lost awareness where he was on the field. Yeah. Just say that. I mean, I know that sounds kind of bad, but that's what happened.
Yes.
I mean, he was probably scared of Kenny Clark coming in there fast as fucking in because Kenny was destroying that old line.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we got to do, Stroud, man. Make him have happy feet, and we'll see what happens after that.
What's the matchup that you're watching from the Badgers defense?
Again, I cheated, but CJ Stroud versus Jim Leonard, and for this reason, I think Jim's ability to create exotic blitzes and change zones on him, change looks on him is going to be very key. The Badgers are very good at creating pressure from different areas. 3-4, you can go crazy and do a lot of crazy shit.
A lot of stunts.
Yeah. I always talk about this when I talk about 3-4. You ever watch the Ravens? Oh, man, this is back in 2015. One time they literally put 7 players on the right side of the center, and it was just like, I don't know who's coming, but pick one. You only got 3 people over there. So
Right.
if all 7 are coming, you're fucked. So
Yeah,
I'm
if
looking for
you're
Jim
guessing that you're gonna make a run to the other side, like go for it. But
yeah, right.
if you're passing or coming this way, like they're going backwards.
You're going backwards. So I'm looking for Jim to mix some coverages and create pressure because Jim has a good football mind. So I'm looking for him to win this game.
So you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like to me that both sides of the ball. So I'm looking also against CJ Stroud, but I was looking at mainly the secondary because the Badgers were able to generate some turnovers last week.
Mhm.
It sounds to me like the game plan for the offense is the same as the game plan for the defense.
Mhm.
And both of the things are to keep Ohio State guessing, to not let them get comfortable, to not be predictable. That's
Mhm.
what it sounds like to me on both sides of the ball for the Badgers.
Mhm.
All right, give me your X factor for the Badgers.
All right. I talked a lot about Graham Mertz. My X factor is Braylon Allen.
Okay.
Braylon Allen is my X factor for this reason, and this reason is one of the very many reasons. But his ability to break tackles and always fall forward and keep the chains moving is going to be very, very important. I talked about keeping yourself in short and manageable, getting, being productive on third downs, having a good power running back that can gain those 3 yards is very, very key in that situation. Badgers like to control time of possession, so Braylon Allen, he's got it. This is his Heisman moment. That's all I'm going to say.
I've talked about it that I know I banged on it a lot last week, but the Badgers' style of play, it does make them easy to upset, I think,
Yep.
but it does also make it easier for them to upset other teams. So when you bring up Braylon Allen as an X factor, I think that's important to mention. I went on the defensive side of the ball. I went with John Torchio. Because he's had a couple safety blitzes. He doesn't do it often, but that's something that where you're talking about, Jim Leonard keeping the offense guessing and mixing up different plays and different styles of blitzes and stuff. So with John Torchio, not only I'm looking at that, but I'm also looking for him to help take away big plays. Just to not let Ohio State score 70-yard touchdowns and start running the score up to a point where you get that ESPN predicted blowout.
Yeah.
The other thing is that maybe John Torchio, being the ball hawk that he is, maybe he can get CJ Stroud's first interception of the season.
Never know.
So I wanted to throw that out there. I do think Kamoi Latu could be important in that same regard, just as the other safety. He's done some good things. He's made some really nice tackles, diagnosed some plays well. So, John Torchio is the main one, but Kamoi Latu I think is also important. What's your key to victory for the Badgers?
Controlling the line of scrimmage. I talked about it before. Not just on offense, but on defense. You cannot let that front seven get in and tackle Braylon Allen for loss or, force, Graham Mertz to have happy feet or flush out of the pocket. And on the other side, we have to stop the run. First and foremost, stop the run, make them one-dimensional, and then we'll figure it all out from there. That's all I'm going to say. Everything falls. It's like blocks. Everything falls in order once you stop the run. So we have to be able to run the ball, and we have to stop their run. That is the key.
So for me, I went with getting off the field on third down. We mentioned that Ohio State is 62% on third downs for the season. Last week against Toledo, they were 11 of 13.
Jesus Christ.
That is just ridiculous for a third down conversion rate.
Yeah.
I don't care who you're playing. To convert 11 of 13 for third downs for first downs, that is insane.
Yeah.
So getting off the field on third down is my key for victory for the Badgers. Now we're gonna do a score prediction here. Jake and I talked about this yesterday. Now we're gonna do 2 score predictions for every game now. We're gonna do one from the head, one from the heart. So Jake and I like doing this optimistic approach where we talk about, all of our teams can win. Here's how, no matter who they're playing. We do it for the Packers, we do it for the Badgers. It's a situation where none of us on the Packers side of things predicted the Packers to go 17-0. So at some point we're going to, have some losses predicted, but we also want to keep that optimistic mindset. So we want to give both. We want to give the analytical view of the score prediction, which is the head, and we want to give, our optimistic viewpoint of how our teams can win, and that's going to be our score prediction from the heart. So we're going to do a head and a heart score prediction. So Jake, I don't know how you want to do it. If you want to do
Let's do heart first because we're always going to pick our teams with our heart, right?
Right. And that's, that's our optimism showing through. So give me your heart score prediction.
So if I'm predicting from the heart, I have Badgers winning 28-27. 1-point thriller in Columbus.
Wow. I went Badgers with a late field goal, 27-24.
Whoa. Hey, I'll tell you this. Those are our heart predictions. Both of those will get your heart pumping.
Oh,
sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that'll do it.
Imagine a 1-point victory and we sack Stroud on like a 4th down or something. I'd be like, oh my
man.
fucking God. I'd be going crazy. I'd wake everybody in the house up.
That's what I'm saying. Like a late field goal, like a field goal to win in Ohio State. Like, you know how loud that stadium would be? And then imagine Ohio State calls a timeout with 3 seconds on the clock.
Oh.
Man, it could potentially be the backup kicker. I haven't seen an injury report yet to know if Vito Calvaruso is going to play.
Imagine being a walk-on. You got to go to Ohio State.
They kick a potential game-winning field goal.
This is what you signed up for, bud.
Yeah, right? It's probably more than you signed up for, Brian.
True that.
No, just, a primetime Saturday night football game against the number 3 team in the country in their building.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah. My heart's pumping now just thinking about that situation.
Man, think about that.
All right, give me your head score prediction.
My head, I have Ohio State winning 35-24.
We're pretty close on these. As far as margin victory is the exact same actually on this. With this one, this is one of the Badgers games that I had the Badgers predicted to lose. Before the season, I went back and forth between 9-3 and 10-2. Either way, this is one that I had the Badgers losing. Mm-hmm. I went with 31-20 Ohio State.
Yep. Yeah. The head, that's if we don't get to Stroud. Stroud's just comfortable back there all day. The heart, Stroud's going to make plays. He's going to be one of the top NFL picks. So there's no way around that. He's got that talent. He's an Ohio State quarterback, so he'll probably flop in the NFL anyways. But, yeah, that's a shot at you, Justin Fields and Bears fans. You like that one? But that's the heart one is if the defense is actually playing up to par, up to their potential.
And Graham Mertz staying efficient, I think, is part of it for me.
Yeah, and I still gave him 27 points. So we always talk about this. You can dislike something. I dislike Ohio State a lot, almost to the point of hatred. I will not lie to you about that, but hate is a very strong word. I'm trying to take it out of my life because I have kids now. But
I still hate the Cardinals and the Dodgers, or I still hate the Cubs and the Dodgers.
I still respect Ohio State because of how good they are, and they make the Big Ten look good in bowl season most of the time. So can't complain with that.
Yeah, if the Badgers can keep being better than Ohio State at basketball, like they can have football, I guess.
Yeah, I would love a win against them in their house, though.
That would be awesome.
Because then I'm going on Facebook and I'm going on an Ohio State fan groups because I want to see what the hell they're gonna say. I gotta see it.
This is a sad reality that this is exactly how this would go. But if the Badgers win this game, this is going to be the one where like people are realizing that Graham Mertz is actually good.
Oh, I can't wait for that too.
Week 1. It'll be week 4, and people will come around on Graham Mertz if he beats Ohio State.
Yeah, they're going to be like, yeah, Graham Mertz has been good all year. I've been saying that. No, you haven't, Michael.
No, it's good. No, you know what it's going to be? It's not even going to be that I've been saying it for how long. It's going to be Graham Mertz is finally good.
Oh, yeah, you're right. They got to put that backhanded shit in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he sucked last year, but now he's okay, I guess. I just don't want to be wrong, but I want to give him props at the same time. See, I'm mature. No, you're an asshole, okay? Nobody likes you.
We've been saying it for 3 weeks now, going into this game.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah. So listen to us and nobody else's opinion. That's all you need.
Man,
obviously
think about our games. Like last week, we knew the Packers were going to win against the Bears. We always beat the Bears. So we really played a cupcake game on our schedule. Bears fans probably aren't going to like that, but sorry, it's reality. I'm being realistic right now.
That's the truth.
That's what people want from me, right? They want us to be more realistic. The Packers always beat the Bears. So
the Bears are. I predicted 4 wins for the Bears, so I think they had 25% of their wins in week 1.
Yeah. Wisconsin played New Mexico State, so we really had 2 cupcake games. Now you come to this week, we got the Badgers playing against Ohio State, our biggest and most hated rival, right? And then you got Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers' biggest and, not most hated because he respects him. They respect each other. They're both great
Right.
competitors, but that is his biggest rival in terms of legacy.
Yep. That's
So
the thing that keeps him down is
yeah.
being compared to Brady.
It's also a sign of respect, though, if you think about it, man. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
a guy with
Yeah.
one Super Bowl is getting compared
That's
to a guy with all those Super Bowls.
exactly. That's the
That's
thing. Like,
how good he is.
the people you're compared to, that's fair. I mean, if you get to a point where, you're an NFL quarterback and you're being compared to Nathan Peterman, like that would be rough.
Yeah. I mean,
Being compared to Tom Brady isn't bad company, I suppose.
I've been thinking about my own legacy for a long time, man. And, the legacy I want to leave is I want my great grandkids to be proud of me one day. So that's why I put in all this work. And one day, you never know where we're going to be. Maybe we'll be sitting in an office next to each other talking about the Badgers versus Ohio State in 10 years.
That's
Who
goals.
fucking knows, man.
Goals.
Who fucking knows? But yeah, man, we got some fucking good games this week. Wisconsin, Ohio State, Packers, Bucks. I mean, shit, man. You can't ask for anything better. It's football
Brewers
season.
are in a playoff push. Like,
bro, it's the third week of the NFL season already.
And NFL or the Bucks media day is on Sunday.
Yeah, man. Oh man, we got. Oh shit, I'm going crazy. I'm knocking my shit
I know.
over.
Jake's over here knocking stuff off of tables. Freaking King Kong on the Empire State Building over here.
When you really think about it, people, and you know that like you can't take life too seriously, and sports is definitely our escape from life. If you take it day by day and you just look at all the things that you get. You take for granted that you have a house over your head and you have running water in your house. Life ain't that bad, right? That's my 2 cents for the day because I've seen a lot of people bitching and complaining, and it's just
there's always it doesn't matter. The Brewers could literally lose the last 13 games of the season, and Jake and I'll still spend the offseason talking about what went well for the Brewers.
Yeah, man, you gotta be positive, man. Your life is not gonna change until you change. You are in control.
Do you want to know a really sad stat?
Yeah.
This isn't a sports statistic. This is a people statistic. That the average person will see 5 negative posts for every positive.
Really?
5 to 1, negative to positive. And what really makes me sad about it, honestly, is being in these sports groups and seeing people make positive posts and trying to make things out of positive takeaways and stuff. And then people in the comment section yelling at people to be realistic or to get your head out of the clouds or this is stupid. Like that shit makes me sad.
It makes me sad too, man. I mean,
like there's literally nothing wrong with letting people be optimistic, and if it bothers you that people are optimistic and you want to call yourself realistic or whatever you want to say, or I want to keep my feet on the ground or whatever you want to say, at the root, it's still pessimism. I don't give a shit how you want to frame it. It's still pessimism. If you're telling people that just because they're being optimistic that they're living their heads in the clouds, that the pessimism means that you're just choosing to live in a mental hell.
Great.
Which would you rather choose to? It's not a competition for me. That I would much rather take that optimistic mindset. And there's nothing wrong with letting other people do it. And if it bothers you that people are choosing that optimistic mindset, you might need to do some self-reflection.
Self-awareness is a very big key to life. And everybody, this is the thing that really, really gets me. And I don't know why I'm so deep today. I just seen so many freaking people just fucking complaining about nothing that needs to be complained about. And it's just like, I have a little tiny platform, right? So I'm going to try to use it for positive. But it's just like you gotta be self-aware. And these are all these people that are like, oh, the world is a scary place. We gotta raise our kids to love. We gotta raise our kids to this. We gotta teach them to help each other. And then they go to work and they're just giant assholes all day. And then they go into sports groups and they're killing people that are trying to be positive. It's like, which one do you want?
Or they're the first ones to post a complaint when something goes wrong.
I want, and my stepson's 9. So he's going to complain. He's going to be naughty sometimes. It is what it is. Yeah. He was an only child, and now, we have my daughter. So he's going from that too. So he's doing a lot of growing up, doing a lot of maturing right now. Sometimes I have to tell myself to breathe and just let him be a kid, because he's going to be naughty.
Mm-hmm.
But there's those people out there that are just like, go to your room. that's the worst place to be as a kid. You know, when you get yelled at, is to go by yourself because they don't understand how to handle these emotions. People got to be better at teaching these kids how to handle these emotions every single day. And I'm not perfect, and I got to do better at that myself. But to be completely honest with you, man, I'm just sick and tired of everybody fucking complaining every day. I really am.
Yeah.
It's just like your life is not that bad.
It
You got a job, you got a
literally,
house.
doing all that complaining, it literally it drains your mental health. It does.
Yeah.
That's why Jake and I have taken the stance on this that we have in the last year and a half, is that it takes the same amount of energy to be positive as it does to be negative. It's so much more beneficial for your mental health. And honestly, so this is true. This is one of the things that, like I mentioned earlier in the show, that like I'm actually trying to learn and study these things, is all the complaining and the shaming and the bashing and, criticism, you can call it criticism and try to say that it's, you can keep your team in check or whatever, but at the end of the day, it's still just negativity. Not only does that cast, potential views that other people can see that and it affects them negatively, but you don't realize it, but all that complaining, it sets the same precedent for how you evaluate yourself. So you evaluate all these professional athletes by all these standards that they don't meet and they won't meet. And then you're going to end up putting yourself in those same standards that you're not going to meet. And that's where that starts to drag down your mental health. I lived that way for a long fucking time, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with having high standards. There's nothing wrong for shooting for the stars. We're not telling you not to do that, but you got to be a little realistic with it too. Don't overwork yourself. Don't overextend yourself.
Well, don't fear failure either. It's better to try and fail than to not try and then regret never having done anything.
True that, man.
To think about your whole life being negative and, posting negative stuff on social media. Like right now we're in a new position where none of the 90-year-olds that are in nursing homes had Facebook when they were teenagers and stuff. But people 20, 30 years from now are going to have that. Yeah. And, you're going to think back about all the stuff you posted on social media, and you're going to think all I did was complain about Craig Counsell and say that Corbin Burns should be traded. And, all the people that like and laugh at your comments or, agree with you, disagree with you, whatever, you're just putting all that negativity into the world. It doesn't only affect you, it affects other people too.
True that. Yeah, I like when random people, like random fans on Facebook pages, like there was a couple times on Brewers pages, I didn't even click on the comments because I knew it was just going to be a fucking circus. But I was like, look at this guy, man. He's trying to be positive about the team. I'm like, fucking A, man. I hope he watches the show. That's just my first thought. Yeah. And you talked about, don't be afraid to try shit because, you might fail. You know how fucking scary it is for me and you? When we first started this show, straight up, plain and simple, it was pretty garbage.
We had no idea what we were doing.
We had zero.
Our first shows were like 25, 30 minutes.
They were bad. Like I was bad. I'll speak for myself. I was bad. I had no idea how to research. We didn't have none of the technology, none of this back setup. We had none of that. So when you first try stuff, it's going to be hard, but
you get better at it.
You talked about adversity, and that was just such a great word, man. That is such a great word. We worked through that adversity and we figured it out. So I'm proud of us. I want to be proud of Wisconsin sports fans in general as a group.
Yeah, I agree. For as often as we say that we're the best, for as often as we say we're the best fans, it doesn't show on social media, if I'm being honest with you. The David Bakhtiari thing is a perfect example of it. I'm honestly disgusted with 75% of our fan base when it comes to David Bakhtiari.
Oh yeah, it's
straight up just disgusted.
It's bad.
The way that people talk about him. It's terrible. And we've put our opinion out there on it several times, and we'll probably talk about it again on Friday. Andy Herman went on a pretty solid rant about it yesterday.
He did a very nice job keeping himself collected.
Yeah, and you could tell it was affecting him that people are the way that they are about it. Which again is sad, but that's hopefully something that we can hopefully drive some people towards us and we can have a conversation about it. Yeah. But that's what Jake and I are doing, and we're trying to relate that to people through sports. So hopefully we get some good wins this weekend between the Badgers, the Brewers, and the Packers. And
Oh
then the
man.
Bucks are starting up soon, so got that to look forward to as well. So
Yep.
at the end of the day, even if the Brewers don't make the playoffs, there's still going to be a 2023 Brewers season.
Yes, there will be.
So
And
we
we're
got
gonna
that
have a
cycle.
lot of exciting names next year. But for this year, we still have a lot of exciting names just on the pitching staff mostly. But
Yeah.
nothing wrong with that.
Season's not over yet, so it's not over till it's over. Well, like I said, we'll have interesting conversation next Wednesday about the Brewers, one way or the other.
Yes, we will.
Is there anything else you want to throw out there about the Brewers or Badgers?
No, just go get some wins, baby. That's it.
All right. Well, if you want to tune in back in with us, we will be live on Friday night, back with Simon and Bryant, Friday night at 8, talking about the Packers' win over the Bears and their matchup with the Buccaneers. So that'll be Friday night. So come hang out with us for that as well.
Tim, I can
Tim is the
honestly
OG. Tim is the OG Wisco Fanatics fan.
Tim, I gotta be honest with you, man. Like, I truly, like, this is like literally coming from my heart.
Yeah, Simon, you're so fired.
I truly care about you as a person, because like you've been coming on this show for years now. We could say years now.
Almost, yeah. We are 9 days away from 2 years of this show.
You are commenting on shit. You brought us bobbleheads, which I was unable to retrieve mine, but Tyler is like a very, very good
I don't
friend.
know. I kind of like having twin Giannis's right there.
I kind of like
and
Giannis
they're
back
next to
there.
baby Giannis from the game that you and I went to in like 2014. I still have that bobblehead in its box. So you can actually see that Giannis has gotten taller because the box is actually a little bit bigger.
I have baby Giannis right here. But Tim, man, I truly care about you as a person. Life's gonna fucking throw some shit at you. It's gonna suck, but if you like, just keep trucking, everything will be okay. Simon, yes, you do. 2 times in one day. Damn. Well,
see,
you are definitely the winner at getting fired. I'll say that.
Yeah,
if Simon's number one at something, he's definitely.
I told him he doesn't get a bonus for a loyalty program for getting fired a certain number of times. So here, this is it. Giannis has literally gotten taller. Even the bobblehead box is taller. Yeah, Simon, you got fired on your day off, just like Ice Cube on Friday.
So I got something.
Man said he got me on camera stealing boxes.
So we have a group chat for our Friday night Packer episodes, and I actually heard a really great idea that I'm going to tell you guys. I just want to remind you to look for that message. Simon, you might not like this idea, but we could have a lot of fun with it. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that's all I got. Hopefully we get some wins, and keep your head up, people. Life's not that bad.
Yep. Like I said, the thing that I would encourage people to do is to, instead of saying what sucks, say what can improve, and just try to look at it from that mindset. Thanks everybody for watching, commenting along. We appreciate people that actually want to watch our show live and interact with us. That's why we do the show live. So thanks everybody for watching, and we will be back on Friday night.
Yes, sir. Take care, buddy.
See ya.